Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new on my channel, then welcome. Today's video is another makeup tutorial. I know I was just talking about it in my previous video that I didn't want to do that many tutorials anymore, but you guys really seem to like them. And also I just felt like I hadn't worn a very intense look in a while, and I mean this is like wearable intense, but still. So I wanted to do something either colorful or something very sultry, and I asked my friends on Instagram, you guys, which look would you like to see first, and it was a very close call. I think it was almost like a tie. It was like 53% versus 47% or something like that. The last time that I looked at it, the khaki green won, but because of the colors in the look, I did have to use a couple of palettes, so it's not like a one palette kind of look. I'm sorry, I know that it annoys a lot of people, myself included. I prefer looks that only use one palette. It's just so much easier to recreate. But yeah, I wanted to change it up a bit. But basically, if you wanted to, you could completely use just the Androgyny palette by Jeffree Star. This is the main thing that I used on my eyes anyway. I just added a few bits and bobs from other palettes. But the main thing on my eyes is this, and you could absolutely do the look with this palette. I did add a bit of like a shimmery khaki green on top as well. And that shimmery khaki green came from the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette. Yeah, again, you could do this whole look with just this palette, using the first shade, the last shade, and then the green. But then it wouldn't be as deep and as intense, but in theory you could do it. And also I did, when I was looking for like the army khaki green kind of shade in my palette collection, you could absolutely do the look with the Armed and Gorgeous palette by Jaclyn, Helen, Morphe, the Vault collection. So there are different options that you could go for. If you guys want to see how I created this khaki green look that was requested on Instagram, then keep on watching. I'm first starting off with the shade Made for Each Other from the Jaclyn, Helen, Morphe palette, and I'm just using a very fluffy blending brush and putting that all over my crease pretty much. I'm not placing the color in a specific area just yet because I want to have a nice warm base for the deeper shades to blend into. So that is the only reason why I'm putting this color down. And now we're going into one of the shades that you can actually see. This is the shade Charm from the Jeffree Star Androgyny palette. And I'm using a more condensed brush to place that in my crease and also slightly above the crease. Just because we're going to cut the lid somewhat, I do want this orangey shade to show through as well. And that's why I'm putting it a bit higher. And also you can see me brushing up the color as I get to my brow area. So I want to have that lifted cat eye effect, and that's why I'm doing that. And I'm also taking the previous brush just to blend over the edges. Now I'm going into the shade Dominatrix, also from the Androgyny palette, and it is a beautiful deep chocolatey brown, and as you can see it is hella pigmented. I had forgotten how much pigmentation this palette has, but as you can see, this color does blend out so beautifully and so effortlessly. So I'm doing that with the previous brush. I'm not taking any more of the orangey shade. I'm just using whatever is left on the brush and very lightly buffing over the upmost edges. I don't want to create a muddy mess, and that's why I'm trying to be very specific, just to keep the brush on the upper parts of that brown. And then I'm also taking the Dominatrix shade in my outer V, just to fill out that outer V area. And again, I'm connecting it with the little flicked out area near my brow, and just kind of going back and forth with the brushes, just to make sure that I build up the color and that I'm blending it out. And now I'm taking the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the shade Vanilla on a flat synthetic shader brush. And I'm doing this trick, I'm sure you've seen it so many times. It's pretty much where you start filling in the lid and then you kind of look up so that your lid touches the crease, and that way you can see where the concealer transfers, and that is the place that you should cut, so to say, because that way you know that once you are, you know, all done with the look and you're wearing it throughout the day, it won't actually transfer in a place that you don't want it to. And then when I have the concealer laid down, I'm going back in with the shade Dominatrix and filling up that outer V one more time, just to kind of make that transition a bit more effortless, and just going over some minor areas to make sure everything is nice and perfected. And now we are diving into the main shadow, which is called Military, and I absolutely adore this shade. It is so stunning. It's this beautiful matte khaki green, and again you can see how pigmented this shade is. And as you can see, I'm trying to fill out the edges and all of that area with this Zoeva brush, but clearly I wasn't really succeeding, so I gave up at one point and just went for a smaller detail brush to get all the edges of that concealer, just to make sure that all the areas are nicely covered. And then I'm going back in with the previous brush. I haven't taken any more eyeshadow. I'm just using whatever's left on the brush and then blending it out one more time. And then I took the shade Central Park from the Jaclyn Hill palette, and on that very, very tiny detail brush, I'm very lightly filling in the outer V just to create that depth in that area, and also making sure that I'm very precisely blending that darker brown into what we had already laid down. So yeah, this is the part where you want to be very, very specific. You don't want the darker shades to, you know, kind of get too overpowering. So that's why it's best to do it with a very, very fine detailed brush, so you won't get the dark color everywhere and cover up all this hard work that we've been doing previously. And then I'm going back in with the Wet n Wild brush and just blending over the area. Now this is the part that you do not have to do, but I just wanted to give the look some more dimension, so that is why I'm taking the shade number 6 from the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette, and I'm laying that on top of the khaki green from the Jeffree Star palette. And again, I just went over the outer V. And then I forgot to show you what I was using. So basically, I mixed together the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear in Vanilla and the Too Faced Peach Perfect foundation in Warm Nude. And I'm beauty blending that all over my face. As you can see, I sped that up because otherwise it's just, you know, kind of going on and on and on. So once I had my whole face covered, I went in with some concealer, and I used the Catrice One Drop Coverage Concealer in the shade 20 Nude Beige. I talked about this in my previous video. I really like this concealer. I think it's great, especially for the drugstore. And then I'm once again beauty blending that into my skin. To set the whole under eye area, I'm using the RCMA No Color Powder. I'm not baking, I'm just very lightly setting the concealer in place so that it wouldn't crease throughout the day. And then I'm taking the INIKA Gold Khaki Eye Pencil and just lining my waterline. And now moving on to the lower lash line, I'm again taking the shade Charm from the Jeffree Star palette and just running that all over my lower lash line. And then I'm taking the shade Dominatrix and I'm trying to be a bit more specific with that one, keeping it closer to the lash line, and again blending it out. And then I went in with the smallest detailer brush, but I didn't pick up any more shadow. I'm again using the eyeshadow residue that I had on the brush and then I blended everything out again, and now you can see that I had already applied some lashes, and I think I forgot to mention that I had applied my eyebrows as well. So I did all that off camera just to speed up the process. And now I'm highlighting my face, and I mixed together the Physicians Formula Butter Highlighter in the shade Rose Gold and the Milani Strobe Light in Day Glow. I love those two highlighters, but the Rose Glow is just a bit too dark, so I mixed it in with the Milani one. And then I also applied the highlighters in my inner corners and underneath my brows. I moved on to bronzer, and I'm using the Wet n Wild Color Icon bronzer in the shade Ticket to Brazil. I'm using so many Wet n Wild products in this video. It wasn't planned or anything, it just kind of happened. But I've really been enjoying them, so yeah. Same goes for the brushes, by the way. I just recently got them, but I think they are such amazing brushes. So I bronzed up my skin, and then I took a bit of the Givenchy Healthy Glow Powder in the shade number 2. You guys know that I need it to finish a look. I cannot do without it still. It just gives me that beautiful bronzy goddessy glow, and I'm all about that. So once I had lathered my face in that, I'm applying some mascara as well. And this is the Essence Volume Stylist Mascara. And I'm just coating my lower lashes in that, and I'm also applying some Jouer liquid lipstick in the shade Bear. And last but not least, I'm using some setting spray. This is the Wet n Wild Photofocus Natural Finish setting spray, and I'm just spritzing my face in that, and we're done. That was the whole khaki green smoky eye, half cut crease, whatever you want to call it. I really like it. That green, like specifically that kind of army khaki green, it just speaks to my soul. So yeah, I love it, and I think that it really brings out the green in your eyes. I will be doing a deep purple and goldish kind of look as well, just because so many people on Instagram asked for it. I will be doing that as well, so stay tuned. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And oh yeah, and also of course tag me in any of your posts if you do decide to recreate this look. I would love to see them. So that's it. Thanks so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!